Hey everyone, welcome to Happy Hour.
Thanks for joining us today.
Awesome.
Excited
All
to be
right.
here.
Aaron, you want to start us off today?
Yeah, so one of the new things that's happening around the world is there's going to be a lunar eclipse tonight.
There's a lot of wacky theories attached to blood moons and stuff.
Yeah.
Those always have, I know it's a cool thing, but it does kind of give me like weird vibes. It's just always feels like a impending doom.
Well, there's always somebody saying something about it. Like
Always. Yeah, there's always something attached to that where
Jesus
people.
is always returning or something like
Yeah.
that. Like,
Well, it's
wow.
because of that passage that the sun will be turned to darkness and the moon to blood before the great day of the Lord.
Happens.
But I've heard that blood moons are symbolic to a warning from God or like a turning point for the Jews, for Israel. But the solar eclipse is meant for the whole world. And that anytime those happen, usually there will be like a major political deal happen. Like one of the tetrads that happened where they had like 4 blood moons and an eclipse in the middle of those blood moons. Israel became a nation, and then the next time was whenever Israel took over Jerusalem. I think it was, and that was like in 1948 and like 1960s. And they had happened back to back, and then the most recent tetrad was 2014, 2015, and there was a lot of stuff that happened with that. But
That's interesting.
Stay alert.
Yeah.
it is basically more of a calendar on God's timepiece than anything. It's not. I mean, I guess there could be a harbinger of the day of the Lord, but I know it's happened time and again.
It's like that guy on The Princess Bride who was in the wheelbarrow that they rolled up. What was he called?
Oh, I don't remember what he was supposed to be.
Oh.
Wesley?
No,
big
it was
the
giant.
monk.
He was the big giant.
Oh.
That was just in the
Oh,
robe, and
yeah,
they
yeah,
pushed
yeah.
him forward, and he was
He's on fire.
Oh,
the thing
no.
of doom. What
Yeah.
was he
It was
called?
the, it was Andre the Giant whenever he comes up in the
And he
cloak.
plays.
I'm the dread pirate
No,
Roberts.
That's not what he's saying
said
he
something.
is. He said, I'm going to not remember it. That's going to be after we get done filming.
Somebody online tell us what it is. That'd be
Yeah, he's in the big black cloak and it's on fire, like the bottom of it,
Yeah.
and they're
Yeah.
pushing him forward.
Beg for
I don't
your
remember what he says.
souls.
I love that
I'm
movie.
here for your souls. That's it.
Oh yeah.
I'm here for your souls.
That's what he says. I love that movie.
That's one of my favorites.
That's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, I love that
I
one.
almost had
Good
that.
movie.
whole-
Inconceivable.
Yeah.
I don't think that means what you think it means.
Keep using that word.
I do not think it means what you think it means.
Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
Inconceivable.
Good movie.
It's horrible for people with lisps. It's that guy.
Yeah.
Makes it funny though.
Yes.
I think didn't the Buttercup, the main princess, I think in filming her dress caught fire in that
Yep.
electric eel scene.
It did.
Really?
The technology they were using, her dress caught fire.
I know it caught
Yeah.
fire in one of the other scenes, but I thought that one was planned.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
that was
yeah,
planned.
yeah. It was in the
So she was just combusting.
forest of.
Oh yeah. It was the
They went.
I forget what it's called, but I know it's the rodents of unusual size, the ROUSs.
I don't believe they exist.
I don't think they exist.
Yeah, and
The
so
little fire swamp. That's
The
what it
fire
Mhm.
swamp. That's what it was.
was. Your dress caught fire
I
on
heard that the guy that was the RUS that Wesley tackles in the movie, that in filming they had to bail him out of jail for filming day.
oh gosh.
That he hadn't gotten arrested.
Because he's the only guy
Sounds
who
about right.
could fit in the rat suit. We need that guy. Someone to bail him out.
You know, another weird thing about that movie is whenever Wesley gets knocked unconscious by the sword, the actor literally got knocked unconscious.
Yeah, he did.
That was not an
It's
act.
method acting.
The
Wow.
guy who hit him with the sword, he said, "Hey, hit me for real," and it wasn't acting. Like it just
That was
it.
Andy.
He actually
What's it? The actor who played the Spanish guy got knocked out.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. I don't remember his name.
Everyone got knocked out at least once in the movie.
Yeah.
Kill me quickly. I just assumed destroy stained glass windows. An artist has to self.
Who
But since I can have
who
it.
played the medicine man? Who was that actor? I can't think of
Oh,
his
yeah.
name.
This is a comedian.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
comedian. He's a Jewish guy.
I just saw his name the other day.
He
Billy-
played Billy. Help us out, Gary.
Billy Crystal.
Billy
Billy
Crystal.
Crystal.
That was
As
it.
Mike Wazowski.
Yes.
All I hear is his wife go, "I'm not a witch, I'm your wife."
You never had it so good.
It's a good movie.
He's not fully dead. He's mostly dead.
That's right.
What happens if he's all dead? Oh, you just check his pockets for change.
Yeah,
Oh, I can literally quote most of that movie, I think.
It is a great
that's a
movie.
great movie. Well, you want to hear something really sad, and I'm going to date myself right here. It's that Atari game that he's using at the beginning playing baseball. I had that
yeah.
game, and I had that system.
That's awesome.
Bloop, 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 bloop.
The
It's
baseball
about as
game.
good as the graphics and the sound was on those things.
Oh, that's so
And
funny.
they're worth a mint nowadays, I guess. because
Yeah.
we have
Yeah.
one.
No.
So, all right. So, what's the second exciting
Well-
thing that we have?
I found something about Da Vinci. Evidently,
Leonardo da Vinci.
Leonardo da Vinci, the artist. There were some mysterious tunnels that he sketched, and they were just rumored. Nobody really knew where they were located. Were they real? Were they not? But it was just in his drawings after he died. And they actually think that they found them. They
Wow.
think they're in Italy.
Oh, is that where they found a bunch of like pre-drawings?
Yeah, in the pre-drawings was these sketches of tunnels, but then they found the tunnel
They
under
think
this castle.
They think it matches the Sforza Castle in Milan, which would make sense because he was hired to be one of the artists for that castle.
Wow.
Because I saw some recently where they found, I don't know how recently they found the tunnels, but there's tunnels with his sketches basically of his
Yeah.
most famous paintings.
Wow.
And it's like just that he was drawing on the walls in there. I don't know if that's
I
also
wonder if that's the same
the
place.
same place.
I don't know. The article that I read didn't
So,
really specify with that.
so correct me if I'm wrong. In that article that you sent us that we're looking at, they haven't found the actual cave that he had sketched yet. They found it with a sound device.
Yeah, they
That
found.
would penetrate the ground, so they know that that's what it looks like. But they don't have the way in it yet.
I
They
don't-
haven't found the way to
I
it.
don't know if it's still a standing castle, like if it's still accessible. I know that they had to use like 3D and like GPS technology and like laser technology to just access like almost a 3D image that they recreated from the findings that they found.
So we need to get like tickets, and we need to go visit there. And when we get there on the tour, we split up.
That would be cool. It'd
We
be
go
creepy.
try to find the secret door that goes to the actual place we can find it. That would be awesome.
It gives major, is it National Treasure vibes?
Yeah.
We're gonna steal the
The
Declaration of Independence.
The whole premise of that movie is insane.
It's ridiculous.
Found
Yeah,
this
just
key that opens a brick.
Rubbing
that
lemon
has-
juice all over the back
glasses
of the
inside of it.
Declaration of Independence.
Yeah,
Gonna
something
find-
extremely acidic.
Yeah, all over the back, and then a
Yeah.
blow dryer, hair
We're gonna
dryer.
find
on it.
Leonardo da Vinci's secret door. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go there.
That whole
That'll be
movie
awesome.
I'll bring the
feels
cylinder.
a little bit like a very weird dream.
What, the National Treasure?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
ending part of it
Oh,
where
that
they
was
actually
cool.
find like the cave and all of that. It just feels, I don't know, it's just a little too much.
It's a lot of treasure.
Yeah.
I always like overthink those. Like, how do they get all that out of there? What do they do with it? And how do they divide it up right?
Yeah.
Unless some
They made it
museum
go to-
just confiscated it.
Quote
'Cause
unquote
they had
taxpayer
some
money.
scrolls from the lost.
It's stored with the Ark.
That's right. With art.
Yeah.
In
Indiana
Antarctica.
Jones.
Same spot.
Same place. But the scrolls from the lost Library of Alexandria.
When Disney redid it, they did a TV show and they filmed it in Baton Rouge.
Wait, they filmed
Here?
what?
They did the National Treasure TV show,
Oh,
and
okay.
it follows like
Oh.
a girl, but they filmed it in Baton Rouge.
I didn't know they had a TV show.
It's not. I watched like the
It ain't
first
that
episode
good.
and was like,
It's
nah.
not good.
And how
Nah.
much treasure does Baton Rouge actually have?
I think
there?
it's because
Yeah.
we
Yeah, really.
just have more historical monuments than the average.
No, that's true. There's
and a lot of people tore theirs down. So
They used to film in
But not
Clinton.
in this state.
So where we live, or where I grew up in Ethel, there's a town next to Ethel called Clinton that has one of the oldest standing
I have a friend in
cemeteries.
Clinton.
Yeah, and they have a really creepy cemetery there with all the like creepy statues and stuff. And they film horror scenes all the time over there because it's like the above ground cemetery with all these angel like weird statues. It's creepy.
That is creepy.
It's not very
What if
large.
you're going there to lay flowers on your grandmother's tomb and you're filming?
Weeping angel from Doctor
I
Who
don't think
just
I'm
shows
going back
up.
here.
They also film here because it's cheaper.
that's true.
So they make do with whatever they can find here.
So cool. All right. So what's the next thing?
Yeah, so they got 3 new minerals that they discovered in a rock a few days ago.
Where?
In South New Mexico. Actually, they had a guy
That's
in
cool.
2016, and he found a rock that looked very like hybridized, real weird bunch of materials in it, and he didn't know what to make of it, so he took it to the geology department, and they stuck it in their archives, and then they began to study it. And years later, they once they got to it, they found that there was 3 different minerals that had never been discovered before inside of this
Crazy.
rock. And so they named 2 of them after like the director and executive of that department, but then they named one of them after the guy who discovered the rock. And so the names of them are Radium-Markite, which is the guy, named after the guy who discovered it, and then the 2 directors, Virgil Luthite and then Denorthropite.
Huh.
And
Pretty cool.
it's kind of crazy because whenever you look at it, it looks like a piece of kryptonite from Superman. Like it's green and like a crystal.
Awesome.
Hopefully,
cool.
we're not going to find out years later that that's where they filmed something from Superman and dropped that thing.
Yeah, it's not
I was
actually
gonna
real.
say,
It's just
probably just a prop.
Oops, my bad.
Yeah.
That was created.
erases like years of science.
Fell out of the spaceship that they have.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. It's like when they filmed Star Wars in California and they wanted to do that scene that they blow the thing up with Jabba the Hutt.
Jabba's palace.
And they said no. It is
Ship.
we're gonna give you a $250,000 fine or some astronomical fine for blowing that thing
George
up.
did not care.
And George Lucas goes, "How much is that fine? $250,000? Seriously?" So he blew it up.
Blew the ship up
Sounds
in
like
the
the
desert.
cheapest thing he could do. Instead of relocating the entire deal, they blew it up right there in the desert. Exactly.
Okay, going back to the Star Wars thing, the name that you said earlier, I always thought it was pronounced Anakin. What we were
Yeah.
talking about beforehand.
Anakin. It is.
No,
Anakin
But that's-
Skywalker?
Not
No,
that.
it was the.
Oh, Anak?
The Sons
Yeah.
of Anak.
I thought
What
it
did I
was spelled
say?
the same way,
Oh.
but I think I'm thinking of something else.
Oh. Those are giants in the Bible.
Anunnaki.
I don't know.
It's like
I'll
the
have to find it.
Babylonian version of
Yeah,
the
it's
same
I
fallen
don't
thing.
know. I have
angels.
to look at it. So we have to look at that. I
I
might
was
have
reading-
it
A
wrong.
bunch of stuff.
But I was reading in the Bible the other day. I don't remember where it was, but it was Anakin, and I was like, I wonder if that's where his name
No,
came
it was
from.
the
There-
Hey, there are a
it was
lot.
the Anakim.
Oh yeah.
Anakin.
With an
I
M.
could
Anakin.
swear it was definitely an N, not an M.
No, it's an
I'm
it's
He
probably
an
did
wrong,
get
though.
a lot of his
But he
names
did
from the
get
Bible.
a lot of
There's
of
Endor.
Endor,
is
yeah.
from
Yeah.
there, which is
The
funny
witch
because
of
Saul
Endor.
went to visit a witch in Endor,
Yeah.
and then he named
Yeah.
the main Ewok Wicket in Endor. There's
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
There's
more.
There's a
Some
bunch
of,
of
the,
he-
some of the names of the planets were from
Yeah.
the Bible.
He drew
cool.
inspiration from the Bible, from Islam, and I think from Buddhism. And that's
Yeah.
But he was just
why
mixing stuff.
it's such a cultural phenomenon across all religions, is because everybody has their own little slice of the pie in that series.
He just blended it all together. It is actually
Yeah.
very much loved. I've heard from people who went and fought in the Middle East that apparently it is very loved by all the terrorist organizations over there.
Star Wars?
They love watching Star Wars because in their
What?
minds
They think
That's
they're fighting
them.
the Empire.
that's what they do every day, and so they're like,
They're
yeah,
the ones
Star
outnumbering.
Wars.
Yeah, they're the rebels.
It's really,
That's crazy. I would
it's
never
really
thought about that. But it sounds like you've put a lot of thought into that theory,
Very
though.
much so.
That was very well.
just keeping them awake at night.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious.
Oh,
But then you
man.
got those other kind of nerds that are like, they're mostly found in my age, and those are the Star Trek guys. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
This big huge
I
don't
debate
really
against
get
Star Trek and Star Wars. My cousin was a Star Trek fan, and we were Star Wars fans because we were younger than he was, and we're like, no, we like Star Wars. He's like, Star Trek, it's better.
All right, age-old
No, it's
question:
not.
Kirk or Picard?
Kirk or
I
Picard?
don't even know what that means.
I'll say I like Kirk better than Picard, but that's a whole generation. It's
Isn't that
different.
the
I agree.
actor for?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I thought so.
What's his
William
name?
Shatner.
William
Yeah.
Shatner. It's
course.
the way he.
I know
does it.
him.
Yeah. Bones, can we do it? We'll see.
Darn it, Jim! I'm a doctor, not a magician.
I'm just a doctor, Jim.
I don't think I've ever seen an episode of.
Yeah,
Any
I've
Star Trek.
never.
Well, we're gonna throw it on the screen so you can see it.
Now, Erin did forcibly make me watch.
All the Star Wars.
All the Star
films,
Wars.
and she grew to kind of like it.
In chronological order,
Yeah.
or in the order that they came out.
In chronological order.
Yeah.
I do chronological order.
Yeah, I do like them. I'm not sold out as far as like being gung ho like Star Wars nerd, but no hate to any Star Wars
Need
nerd.
to get her
I
started
married
on the Clone
one, but
Wars.
huh?
Need to get you started on the Clone Wars.
My
Oh,
wife
gosh.
She
is,
hasn't watched the Clone Wars yet.
No,
She has not.
my wife just says it's like needles in her eyes.
no. I actually don't.
Jeez.
Okay,
We had to. I made her watch all of them during COVID. Like we went through each
COVID.
movie.
Okay, I don't mind the movies. I think the storytelling is good. I just have issues with some of the storytelling. Like, there's some certain storylines with Padme that I'm just like, I feel like a dude wrote this because just some of the arc in it doesn't make sense. And I lose a lot of respect for Padme and her choice in Anakin. Because it just doesn't
will
like
say-
if she's smart, if she's really a senator, granted, would she have better taste
Of
in
a
men?
planet. True. She
But
was.
But you would know that you would have enough
Padme
counselors.
is low key weird, but
She's in that
to
bad
be
boy thing.
fair, people like dogged on the way George Lucas wrote Anakin's character for a long time and says like this is terrible. But if you really think about, that's the most realistic. Of course, he's awkward around women. He
Yeah.
wasn't allowed to he was a teenager and
Yeah.
wasn't allowed to
No,
interact
that's
with them.
accurate. That's
so he's
normal.
weird. He's a weirdo.
Yeah.
So, but her falling for that is a little like, all right, Padme, come on. Like,
Best pickup
Yeah.
line ever. I don't
And-
like sand.
I don't like the sand.
It's coarse, rough, and
It gets
everywhere.
everywhere.
Not like you. You're soft and smooth.
It's like-
She's
it's like,
like
all right,
head over
buddy.
heels after that.
Which is, but he's a monk who's like a teenager, so of course he doesn't know how to flirt.
Also, what's a red flag for me is that whenever they originally met, he was a child.
Yeah,
And
That's
that's
crazy.
weird.
He was
Even if
9,
you
she
meet
was
that
14.
even if you meet that person later
Is that what
on,
it says in the movie?
that still feels
Technically,
weird
yeah.
to me.
it is.
He was
kinda
9
odd.
and she was 14.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. And
Which
it's
is
not that
weird
big of an
because they
age
did
gap.
say like I thought I remember there being an inconsistency there because later they said she made a quote like I became queen when I was this old, but she was
Yeah.
queen in the movie and she
Yeah.
was younger.
Yeah.
It's like you said you were 14 to a 9-year-old. So were you a grown woman flirting with a 9-year-old, or
Thank
were
you.
you a 14-year-old flirting with a 9-year-old?
Yeah.
I'm probably missing
Let's see the rewrite on
context,
that.
but I don't know.
I don't know.
George,
There's the
get
more I
back to
pick
us.
apart like the arc, it feels very weird. And
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, the evolution of his insanity into that spiral makes sense. That all seems
It is.
real.
Other than
And
that,
it's-
it is very well.
It's very well
written.
thought out, very well put together, and the redemption arcs are great. There's just some things in the beginning where these stories are starting. I'm like, this feels a little weird, and it's kind of much. But that's just where my hesitation with it comes from.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm just going to preface this part with I was given this script about the next Feel Good piece.
We were
and
working with limited resources.
it's,
What
the next
heck?
the next Feel Good piece is here
is
in our
local.
state,
Yeah,
Or
of
at
course.
least-
and a deputy is honored for saving an inmate who was choking on a hot dog.
Sorry.
So
You know,
I don't know if that's the best feel good story that we got in Louisiana. we're struggling. We need you to send us your feel good stories from all over the state.
Please.
And then
Yeah,
we
don't
need some from
hesitate.
our
We're
backyard.
struggling.
And I'm not going to. I mean, is it a Heimlich and a whole hot dog flew out of his mouth?
All I see is Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh my
I'm
goodness.
coming, dear, and launches over the table.
dude. I don't. Yeah.
We're going to get all kinds of strange stuff, so be ready to delete.
Comment
Oh,
section's
man.
gonna
The
be
other feel good
fire.
thing is our Cal school here, they did super awesome at their last track meet. And these young guys who have never did long jump before or those kinds of things took down the gold. They got a gold medal in that. And
That's cool.
One of our 8th grader, 2 weeks ago at practice, broke the middle school record in the discus. So he's
Oh,
excited
awesome.
about
That's
going
cool.
out there and doing that against all those Baton Rouge private schools out there and bringing it to him. So we're excited about that. That's
That's
a cool
cool.
story. Cool story.
Y'all know
Nice.
why? Do y'all know why I'm in music? Whenever I was 9, I grew up in a really large family. We've talked about that. And my parents gave us 2 options because they didn't want to be bringing kids to like practice after practice after practice. I mean, there's 7 of us. You know, you got to put a cap on it at some point. So when I was 9, they said you can play piano or you can play soccer. And I wasn't going to run for fun. So I was like, I'll stick with piano. And
Soccer's
the
so
rest.
fun.
Yeah, all my siblings
soccer
did soccer, and that was great. They were all goalies, oddly enough, but
Hmm.
they
They
all.
didn't want to run.
Nobody ran.
We ran.
But they were very successful in it.
That's cool. That is awesome. Well, what else?
So I got a hot take.
Let's
We
hear
had a
it.
buzzer.
Something that Jesse said I should say.
Yeah, I thought it would be
It
fun.
was just something I said in passing, and I thought about it, but it was like, you know what? Micah kind of reminds me of Barry Allen from the Flash series.
Yeah.
And I agreed because the hair and like the height, the lankiness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was my
Barry Allen
favorite
from
growing
Flash.
up. My favorite
Really?
superhero.
That's cool.
Now my favorite DC superhero is Batman. I guess that shows you what growing up does to you.
You
I don't
get
know.
dark and brooding and want to go hide in a cave.
And dungeons.
It's like,
just
I've been
over
waiting
it.
on him to bust in here at 500 miles an hour. Just
Yeah.
like,
We're
Lightning.
We're gonna throw a picture of Micah running up on the screen.
No.
Yeah.
Because you were a
The
runner
Flash, he
too,
was.
right?
He did good. He was a good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
He
wasn't
was a good
good.
runner.
I
He
was
just didn't like the pain.
I was an okay runner, but yeah, I've been compared to a lot of things, a lot of characters growing up. Him, oh my goodness, who else?
But he wants to be compared to Spider-Man.
No, I have been Peter Park compared to Peter Parker a lot.
Well, what's the Irish Mexican?
And the
guy?
Irish Mexican one, Miguel O'Hara, but that was before they made him like mean in the new
Mean.
in the new movie and stuff. So, and then when I was younger and I had more of a baby face that was smoother, it was Miguel from Coco.
uh-huh.
And then
I can see that.
He actually
once-
sings pretty good.
Once
That's
I got a little older and this started, you can't see it right now, but this started to come in, they changed it to Hector from Coco. So just the
Oh.
grown up. So
Yeah.
that, and then
Wait, I know how
one of the guys from Friends, someone told me I don't look like him, but I act like him. I don't know who.
Ross.
No. not
Joey
that
or
one.
Chandler?
I don't know. I've never watched Friends, so I don't know.
Oh, I love Friends.
It's
That's
one
my
of
wife's
them.
Favorite show was her favorite show. It's kind of like.
But
Now
Okay.
we watch it, and I'm like, I don't
Question
know if I
for
can let
you.
My kids watch
yeah.
it.
Of all those things that you and people you have been compared to, which one were you secretly like, yeah, that's pretty cool?
Spider-Man. I love Spider-Man.
Which version though? Which one? Tom Holland or
Oh,
Tobey Maguire?
Growing up before Tom Holland was made, it was always Andrew Garfield, and it probably still is Andrew Garfield. I think Tobey Maguire did a better Peter Parker,
Yeah, I
and I
agree.
think
Yeah.
Andrew Garfield did a better Spider-Man. And I
Yes.
think Tom
Yep.
is pretty good at both, but he doesn't excel more than each of them.
No,
at
the
either one
only
of those.
the
He
only
just
thing I
balances
think
it.
Who's
he
the mean
excels.
guy?
Huh?
Who is the mean actor? Always like
Toby is kind of mean.
Tobey Maguire. That is the guy who's always like fussing at the paparazzi. And
He
stuff
does
like
not
that.
like
Oh.
paparazzi.
So it's
But
just-
anyway,
I feel like Tom Holland did a good kid. Like he played that I'm still in
he's a
school,
young-
but it's because he's young.
yeah.
He played that
He
aspect
also
really well.
he told Disney, I think as a joke, he was like, y'all
I
should
know what you're
secretly send me
referencing.
to a high school, and they did.
and they did.
But they sent him to like a high school for like genius kids in
Yeah.
like New York. That's like a physicist high school basically. So he had no idea. They would be calling on him. And one time he said he'd sit at the back of the class and there's this girl who just went, dude, what's your deal? And he was
Jeez.
like,
They outed him.
he's like, do you really want to know? She's like, yeah. He was like, I'm Spider-Man. She's just like, whatever. And then later it came out like that he actually
Yeah.
was playing Spider-Man.
That's
Everyone was
awesome.
like, what?
Can you imagine? She was probably like, he wasn't lying.
He
Yeah,
really is.
that would have been
she
awesome.
probably thought
That's
he
the
was
coolest
so
thing.
full of bull in
Yeah.
that moment.
Story about that.
just
That's
making
awesome.
stuff up. He was probably crazy or something.
I heard that in his audition, he like flipped into the screen to show
He
his
is
like
very-
acrobaticness.
Because he was a dancer.
That's
so
not
I
the
think
term.
he
Yeah,
can-
he was from Broadway or something.
But like he saw like the cues on the paper, and he was like, "Well, I can actually like flip into the scene."
Mhm.
And they're like, "Go for it!" And I've seen a recording of it, and you see him just
Just-
launch into the frame.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So Spider-Man, yeah.
All right. Who do people compare you to?
Me, the one I get all the time is Joy from Inside Out, but it's because I do the crazy hair
Okay.
colors.
Yeah.
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 You've also
Isn't she the
been-
one with blue hair?
Yeah.
You've
Yeah.
also been compared to Pink,
see
from the singer Pink.
Oh well, yeah.
I mean,
And you? How about
I have no
Aaron?
idea.
You got any comparisons?
Not really.
I don't
Wanna
even
weigh
think.
in?
Have you had any?
I don't know. We did this on some game we were playing at church or something, and they had to pick thing, and your wife was supposed to pick who you look like, and I don't know who she picked. I don't think I look like any actor, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think
It'd be
I
an
don't
old
remember.
actor if it was.
I
being
came up
compared
with
to
a
anything.
question on the way
Before
here.
I cut my mustache off, I was Ned Flanders.
Ned
Oh,
Flanders. We need to show a picture
yeah.
of Gary
Yeah.
and Ned Flanders, and then I need you to put a
Side by
mustache
side.
on. Exactly. And
Ned
we'll-
Just like a.
That's actually
Gary's
a
our
really good
editor,
one.
and he's doing a great job out there.
Yeah.
That's a really
Thanks,
good one,
Gary.
actually.
He's our guy behind the scenes that makes this all happen each week.
That's right. That's right.
Wait.
He's the man in the chair.
Oh, he is
guy
the man in the chair.
I have
Pay
a friend
attention.
who looks exactly like the guy from Spider-Man: Homecoming. Who's the guy in the chair? What's his name? What is the character's name?
I don't know, but my mind went to pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Right. Right.
But so when I was rushing to get here because I was late, I was like, just in case you don't have a hot topic yet, I need to come up with something. And so I grabbed a classic, which is, what's the largest mammal? Not mammal. What's the largest animal you think that you could realistically beat in a fight with just your hands? You're locked in a room with this animal. There's nothing you can use as a weapon. You got to use your hands.
Okay.
As somebody who's actually been attacked by a deer before, probably nothing larger than that, because that sucked.
I feel like a deer would be
You
pretty.
lost.
I was a kid at the time, but yeah, we had a pet deer, and she actually like came at me one day.
Wow.
Yeah, my mom had to like pull her off.
Yeah, deer sounds like it'd be pretty formidable.
Down, Bambi.
Her name was Daisy.
You got beat up by Daisy.
I got beat up by Daisy.
I've actually, I would argue a kangaroo because
I don't know.
I've seen guys punch them and like the kangaroo looks like it just stole his lunch money.
Dazed.
Okay, I will say this
Just
though.
punch me?
He didn't
Yeah.
use his feet.
I will say this though, like, I don't know. I feel like I could put up a good fight with a horse. I've worked with them a long time. I know their weaknesses. I feel like
What
I
are
could.
you gonna do to a
How do you
horse?
take down a horse?
I know people that have like just swung just right at their noses.
Swung at a horse.
The Rocky.
There's a
Yeah.
story about a guy who fought a grizzly bear, and like I don't remember all the story, but he basically had a knife, and he was already cut up, and he stabbed it a few times, but he ended up knocking it out with a punch. Like he just had such
Just
adrenaline that
swinging.
it charged, and he just, I guess, caught it perfectly, and like his adrenaline gave him like super strength, and he knocked it out.
Can you imagine?
He
That's
was
like
able to get away.
the coolest story ever. That you
Yeah,
got attacked
nobody-
by a bear,
Right.
but you got away because you knocked it out.
Yeah, I have to
Samson
look
or
more into that story.
One
I
Punch
don't know
Man.
about that. When you see a grizzly bear,
I think the largest animal I could actually beat, I've thought about this and it's changed. Sometimes it's like a deer, sometimes it's like a penguin. I guess it depends on like
A penguin?
how I'm feeling. Penguins are pretty big though.
that's sad. What are you gonna do?
Really?
Kick him over?
Well, he's like this big.
Is he gonna get up on his little floppy feet?
Yeah, he can't do anything back. Or
With
Yeah.
his wings.
a
Gonna
cow. I
slide on
said a
some ice and
cow
run you over.
because a cow,
Cow.
is so like it won't, unless it's a bull, not
Yeah.
a bull, a cow.
You can tip it over.
Specifically, a female
Yeah,
cow.
not a bull.
And what is beating up to death? Is this?
Or
I
just
don't know.
who would win? Like,
I don't want to
who
get
do you feel
morbid
like you could actually
During
during
succeed?
happy hour.
Yeah.
So, like, basically, who could you actually realistically win, or what could you win a fight with? What animal could you win a fight with, basically?
I'll say the largest mammal on the planet, the blue whale. And then I would just put my hand over his blowhole. Tap out when you're ready, buddy, because
I got in an actual argument with someone about that because it's like,
It'd
I
be a
think I
pretty
could
easy
kill a
win.
blue whale. And they
long
were
as
like,
you
You
can get
said
him into the room.
or maybe,
The question was, in a room with the animal, I'll take the blue whale. Boom.
maybe someone said they would kill a blue whale, and I argued with them. I remember arguing about a whale though.
Okay, but if you think of the size of a whale, is the blowhole bigger than your hand?
Well, put it
Yeah,
you need
lay on
something
my
like-
stomach.
Lay on your whole body, get sucked into it.
That'd be a better, it'll look like a wrestling move.
They're just gonna shoot you up. All they
Yeah.
have to do is blow their nose, and you're done.
Blow their nose.
Well, I'm going to do it a couple times.
Yeah.
It's his breathe in, where
I
I get
will-
a big, huge hickey right here, because it's like,
It's just
It's gonna like
suction.
rip your intestines out or something.
Yeah.
It's gonna kill you.
Okay, so growing up, my least favorite thing that we ever had on our farm were geese. Anybody who has
I don't
ever
like geese.
owned
Geese
geese,
are scary.
they run at
geese are terrors.
Don't they have teeth?
you.
Yeah, and they freaking bite.
They hiss.
They hiss at you. They will chase, like they will just run and just chase you for yards. They're horrible.
I do not like.
I
geese.
remember being traumatized as a child, being chased by these
Me
geese.
too. I think it was a duck though on a playground. Some form of a water bird attacked me.
We had
Oh.
some geese on our property that were not ours. They were wild geese, and we had to get rid of them. And this could be bad because PETA might.
I was
weigh
gonna
in
say,
on
when you
this.
say get rid of,
It-
maybe we shouldn't clarify here.
they weren't actually swords; they were large sticks. We use the old ways. Speed of horse.
Nah.
There's just 2 of them. There's 5 of us. Fair fight.
When did this
You're
happen?
fine.
You weren't born yet. It was a property that I owned in Slidell. Okay.
We had a chicken once that had it out for my mom. Yeah, he went to a happy farm.
Is
Up
that
north.
like fried chicken.
Yeah, meaning he became
Upstate.
somebody's dinner.
On that note,
Upstate.
I've got a roll, King.
Okay.
Okay.
To set up the hot topic for next week, because you have to have research on this.
Okay.
Is
Oh.
water wet?
Is water
Or does water make things wet?
Wet.
Is water wet? Is the question.
That's the exact
Research.
And
I
come
have
back
my
for next
answer.
week. You have
Next
your
week.
answer?
Weigh
It's
in
gonna be a
if you
big-
guys see that.
Yeah, is water wet?
Is water wet?
All right.
All right, thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for happy hour.
Bye.
Bye.